How you doing, everybody? This is Bones back here in the Alternative Energies Lab. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to build another unit. This isn't going to be our traditional bubblers, however. This is going to be for a big unit that I'm working on. This is the one I'm working on for the diesel truck. This has got 17 plates in it. I'm going to run 3 positive terminals, 2 negative terminals. I've taken Steve's idea. I've covered the top of my plate with epoxy so we don't overheat it. I've got a couple out there so far that I've done this to, and it's running really well. I've got my ports on the top for the my inputs and my autofill. I've just gone ahead and inserted some threaded units in there. Top's not quite done yet. I've got to add the heat sinks. I'll go ahead and take these pieces of plastic off of here and put my heat sinks on those bolts right there, and then finish that up. Put my my safety valve, the explosion valve up here, design that we got from the install guys. Go ahead and put that on there. This one here we're building for a 6-liter diesel engine. So we went a little bit bigger with this one. This is a 4-inch PVC versus my standard 3-inch ones. And no, the toilet flange won't stay there. This is just till I get it finished. Once I get it in the dually, then I'll take it out. But today, again, to get back to this here, what my design is on this, guys, is to mount this unit as low as I can inside the engine compartment of the truck, and then this unit here is going to get mounted above it. As long as the bottom of this unit is above the output of this, I'll be okay. What my thing is this going to be a drier, more of a drier filter than it is going to be a bubbler. I've already going to have my explosion proof device in line with it, so I'm not really worried about a flashback. This will help, but I think between the flashback and the relief valve on top of the cell, we're not going to have any problems. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do, I'll go over it quick before I put it together. I'm going to show you on the camera how to put it together. Is I'm actually going to put my feed into the bottom of this cell. Then I'm going to stuff the cell with a couple of different things. Then I'm going to put my same clean out cap on the top, and then I'm going to come off the top of the cell and go to the pre-turbo of my truck to introduce it to the system. So what'll happen is when that HHO cell starts pumping out, it's going to pump out foam. There's just no question that it's going to do it. So that's why I need to have this higher than the cell itself. So that way when the system does shut down, while it's cooling, it pulls a vacuum. And while it does, it'll pull whatever water it pushed into the unit and pull it back into the cell. So 90% of the driving I do on that diesel is long distances. I don't drive it locally around town. It's just not feasible to be driving a big dually truck around town. So it isn't going to take long for this thing to put an inch or two of water in the bottom of this unit here, which is then obviously going to act like a bubbler. So it'll be a small bubbler, but it'll be a big one. But once I stuff it with everything, by the time it comes to the top of this unit here, it'll be dry enough to I can introduce it into the intake of the truck. So something a little bit different. See how it works out. So what we're going to do is let's start by this. Oh, let me give you a little bit of background on what we're going to do with this one here. I'm not going to use a PWM on this. I'm not using a pulse width modulation. I'm going to strictly go with just a current limiter on this. I will set my current limiter to whatever I desire at the time, I don't have to worry about O2 sensors. I don't have to worry about any of that. I don't believe that it's that critical with what I'm doing here with this type of a cell to go with a PWM. My PWM works really well on the one in the van. I use it more as a current limiting than I do anything else. I'm not really too worried about changing the frequency. I'm not really too worried about pulsing the power as it goes into the unit. I just want to limit the amount of power it goes into it. Obviously, the warmer these things get, the more they'll draw. So while it's cold, it'll take whatever it can get. One of the thoughts that I'm throwing around right now is wrapping my cell with a heater. It's a diesel truck. So if it gets cool enough that I need to plug that diesel truck in at night, then maybe what I'll do is I'll go ahead and take a crankcase heater from a compressor, from a heating and air conditioning unit. A lot of heat and air conditioning units use what they call a crankcase heater. I can pull a crankcase heater out and throw a crankcase heater inside of the cell to keep the cell warm, if I so desire. Again, it doesn't really matter because you crank up a diesel, it's got to warm up. If it's that cool out that I have to let that truck warm up and everything, by the time I get ready to go cranking down the road, the cell should start producing whatever it needs to produce.